The restaurant had been closed for hours, but the dim light above booth 7 was still on. It was nearly midnight when Ethan Grant, the CEO of a nationwide restaurant chain, stepped quietly through the back doors of one of his own establishments. Dressed in plain jeans and an old jacket, nobody knew him here as the millionaire who owned the place. They only knew him as Ethan, the new trainee. He was doing what he often did, working undercover to see how life really looked for his employees. Tonight, though, something caught him off guard. There, curled up in the booth, was a young woman, fast asleep. Her apron was still tied around her waist, her head resting against her arm as though she had simply run out of energy. A half-folded notebook sat on the table, covered in scribbled numbers, reminders, and what looked like prayers. Ethan hesitated. She was new, he remembered her from the morning shift. Her name tag had said Maya. She'd been quiet, polite, and worked with a kind of determination that told him she was carrying more than trays of food. He almost turned to leave, but then Maya stirred. Her eyes flickered open, wide with fear when she saw him standing there. I'm sorry, she stammered, sitting up quickly. Please don't tell the manager. I just needed a place to rest for a bit. I'll leave right now. Ethan raised his hand gently. It's okay. You don't have to explain to me. But her expression broke him, because he could see she wanted to explain. The weight on her shoulders had been there far too long. And for some reason, in that quiet moment, the truth spilled out. She told him she had been working double shifts at 2 different jobs. She was trying to save money for her younger brother's school fees and for rent, since their parents were gone. Some nights she didn't have the bus fare home, so she stayed in the booth until morning. Her voice cracked when she said, I didn't want anyone to know. I just need this job. I'll do better. Please don't fire me. Ethan felt a lump rise in his throat. This wasn't just an employee, this was a human being fighting with everything she had. He sat down across from her, pretending for a moment to be just another worker. You're not going to lose your job, he said softly. In fact, maybe things can get better for you. Maya gave him a puzzled look, too exhausted to even hope. The next morning, when the staff gathered for the usual team huddle, Ethan stood before them, not as the trainee, but as himself. He introduced himself as the owner of the chain. The room went silent, jaws dropping. But none were as shocked as Maya. Then he did something no one expected. He called her forward, sharing her story, not the details that would embarrass her, but the courage she showed, the sacrifices she made for her family. And then, in front of everyone, he announced that she would receive full financial support for her brother's schooling and a permanent role with better pay, plus a housing stipend to ensure she never had to sleep in a booth again. The room erupted in applause, but Maya's tears spoke louder than anything. She whispered, "Why would you do this for me?" Ethan smiled. Because no one fighting this hard should be fighting alone. Sometimes, all it takes is someone noticing, and caring. From that day forward, Maya's life changed. She still worked hard, but now she worked with hope instead of desperation. And for Ethan, that night reminded him why he started undercover visits in the first place, not for numbers, not for policies, but for people. Because in the end, the measure of success isn't in profit sheets or corner offices. It's in the lives you touch when you choose compassion over convenience. And sometimes, the smallest act of kindness is the moment that changes everything. This draft is structured to run naturally in 10 to 12 minutes when spoken aloud, with a heartfelt build-up, twist, CEO reveal, emotional climax, and uplifting close.